Great to be joined today by Darren Tonkin from Storyboard.
How are you?
Well, all the better for having you coming along and doing some work with students.
Oh, I can't wait to work with the students, and I was a student a year ago myself, so I've sort of been through some of your classes, and here I am on the other side, so it's awesome.
Fantastic. So listen, quick 2 minutes, tell us what Storyboard does.
Okay, so what Storyboard does is we create visual maps and experiences. So going back into layman terms, people used to put a map on their wall and they'd pin photos of where they've been. They'd then use that to remember their journeys, experiences, and people would come over and they'd tell people. Now there's scratchy maps, so people scratch off where they've been. Well, we want to do that in the digital space and allow you to share that to Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So on Storyboard, you can come in as little as 15 seconds, we take your photos, we can map out where they were and the order in which they were taken, and recreate a whole journey map or experience so people can follow your journey as if they were there with you when you're experiencing it.
Fantastic. So you've been at this for about a year now?
Yeah, so 13 months from ideation, 14 months give or take, yeah.
Yeah, cool. So in terms of your resource profile, thinking about who you need to know to succeed, what you need to know and what resources you want, who are the people or who are the types of people out there that you think you still need to shake hands with?
Look, so this is an interesting one. I've actually had the privilege of meeting some of the world's most successful entrepreneurs, from Zuckerberg to Branson, and discuss Storyboard and get their inputs. And it's not so much individual people now as it's actually the masses, right? So even as we work with influencers, they are interested in platforms with the end user. Not everyone can be an influencer.
Yep.
And so our current, who do we want to meet? That is, for me, everyone on the street. I want to meet every person and get everyone understanding what we're trying to work with in Storyboard. And that is probably one of our big problems, is it's quite broad, because within the team we joke that if Darren could meet all 13 billion people in the world, there'd be 13 billion people on Storyboard. Yep. But that's not viable. So how do we reach and scale that and meet and touch with everyone in the real world?
Cool. And what about the specific knowledge that's still sort of to be brought into your organisation to sort of move you forward? What do you need to know? So
really that comes down to the same thing, is how do we reach those people? And that marketing, I've got project management and technical skills, and we've got a very strong technical team. But now we're starting to look on that growth and marketing sort of thing, and how do we reach the end user and bring them on board? So that's how do we reach the nth person? And we're building out invite systems where you can sort of invite, like Dropbox, and then if you invite someone, you get something, the person you invited gets something. And we feel genius when we bring that up. But there's a lot of people out there who are more creative in that marketing communication space, and that would be our biggest resource that we're lacking.
And if this was a magic wand and I could give you any access to any form of resources now, what would it be?
It would be an amazing bunch of young, inspired people who, love to get out there and travel or experience different things and learn different things of the world, to get them to come on board to be brand ambassadors, to have 100, 1,000, 10,000 people out there who love Storyboard, who interact with people. And social media these days is very much a circle. If you like my photo, I like yours. It's hashtag like for like. That sucks, really, and that creates these circles where you only hear the same thing. On Storyboard, it's actually about meeting and liking and talking to other people on the other side of the world. So I was talking to a guy who's traveling in Bosnia and seeing what he's doing in Bosnia, and we've found average story doesn't even get 1 or 2% of the likes as the amount of views that they get. And we ask ourselves, is that because they actually don't like the story? We doubt it, because they're amazing stories, amazing photos. It's actually because people feel they can't like, from user surveys, that they can't like somebody else that they don't know story.
Interesting.
And we want to build a network of early adopters that like and comment and travel and sharing their stories and adventures. Be it a day here in Brisbane. What did you do on the weekend? People care. You may not be Kim Kardashian, the whole world cares, but your family cares. There's people who are coming to Brisbane in 10 years who want to know about your local experience here in Brisbane. So we want to build that community.
So look, the next two questions relate to legitimacy. The first one is cognitive legitimacy. So we're talking about the extent to which Storyboarders sort of achieve that taken for granted status in the community or in your communities that you're trying to sort of access. So Where are you at with that? Are you still trying to educate people what it is and what it does?
So definitely. So, we're a small Brisbane-based startup. So getting noticed out there on the global stage, and even within Brisbane, people often actually say, I've heard of Storyboard, and even with their logo, they're like, that's familiar. And that's actually something we designed. Because the word Storyboard is quite well known, and the logo can be similar, slightly similar to Instagram, slightly similar to other things, they get that understanding and recognition, which breaks down barriers. But we really are educating people about what it does.
Yeah.
I have a lot of people say that to me that they love Storyboard, and then I look and they haven't really used Storyboard. And that's because they love the concept of what they've heard, but they haven't actually looked into it. So we're still definitely trying to grow that awareness. And a lot of people in your class, maybe a few % of them have heard of Storyboard and used it.
Yep.
But we're getting out there and we're pushing it. So we're still really trying to get that cognitive understanding, to be honest.
We're trying to get that first chapter read.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the second part is socio-political legitimacy. To what extent does stakeholders, the major stakeholders in society, would they approve of what you're trying to do?
Yeah, so look, we actually have quite positive because, as we'll probably talk about later on, our initial target market are sort of travellers because they're out there doing things and people love to see amazing travel photos. But we also have the government that are interested in helping share Indigenous stories and of the minorities. And I have a big passion with why can't we have users of different race, religion, sex around the world, and they share what their life journey experience is like. What's it like working in a sweatshop in China? People in Australia are angered by that, but they can't actually empathise that much because they don't know. And seeing and understanding, experiencing is it. So we actually have a lot of support with that. We just need to sort of build the platform to get there.
Cool. The space you're in is incredibly dynamic, and even for someone who lives in it every day, I'm sure you see it. You would be constantly surprised by how many new things come and go. The students will be thinking about how easy it is for new variations, new ideas to come into this space, to be selected for or against, and why something might, like say a Facebook, might be just constantly retained, even if people may have negative views about it. It's got that sort of size about it. So how well do you think you know the space that you're operating in terms of how things come to succeed and why things fail?
Look, I think it's something that no one knows, and as I've met some of the leaders of these big companies, in their individual products, they don't even know it's going to succeed. So it really comes down to, as I said before, as I said, the end user is the most important person, and how they adopt and what they adopt is there's no real common ground. So before Facebook ripped off Snapchat stories, they built and spent over $2 billion on 2 other rip-offs that failed, and more people know about Storyboard than they know about some of these Facebook rip-offs because they just didn't know how to succeed. So Facebook and these things, the Storyboard as well, we're always learning and we're always trying to understand from the end user and how they want to use our platform, because we think they're going to use it like this and then they use it in a completely different way.
Cool. Thinking about your environment, as the environment as you recognise and feel it, so not the broader environment, interest rates went up or the sun went down yesterday, but what are the things that you think are directly working against the development of Storyboard?
The first thing would be people's resistance to change. They see Storyboard as trying to take them off Facebook or off Instagram, and we're completely not doing that. We are another social platform, or as we like to say, even micro-blogging platform, where we feed into them. So our content can go out to Facebook, can go out to Twitter, can go out to Instagram, and that's key. But people actually understanding and getting on board and trying something new is hard. When was the last time you last downloaded a new app? They're the free things that are out there, people don't value them. And building that network. So because if you come on as an end user, the first things you actually want are people to like your stories, comment on your stories, and your friends and family to see them. Then you worry about the broader community. So until we can take over, as the Art of War says, a whole city or a whole country or a whole community, if everyone in your class can commit to using Storyboard for a month or 2 months over the summer holidays, and they all like and comment on their own things, you watch the friendship group grow. And they're the resistance things is getting that first real core group, because we're in 30 different countries. over 30. We've got tens of thousands of users on iOS. Android's new, but we're growing that. But we see there's a lot of disparity between them, and what we need is to focus in.
Cool. So the opposite part of that question is, what's working specifically for you? What resources are available that give you an advantage?
So that is a unique, first, the passion our team has for it. People actually really over current social media. Instagram's become very sexualized, which is great for selling products, but not for many other things. Facebook's had a lot of bad publicity with fake news and everything along those lines, and so over advertised. And Storyboard is something new. We're solving a problem which people solved in a non-technical way, which is the map on your wall. People love that. And as soon as we bring that up, people start being, hey, that was really cool. I enjoyed doing that. It was hard because the map wasn't dynamic like technology. We can zoom in and out. So all these factors are working strongly for us. And I get it all the time. Friends at the start of the Storyboard journey said, we've got enough social platforms. And within the year, they've stopped using Snapchat. They're grown out of that age. So they've stopped using Instagram as much because that one image doesn't tell them anything, and they realize that they want more. So our age demographic is actually a little bit higher than most other social platforms, the mid-20s all the way to 60s. And so all working for us.
Cool. In terms of being that process of creating value and trying to capture it, students will be thinking, in terms of value chains, value shop, value networks. Where do you see your value being created and hopefully captured?
Ours is definitely the network, the network effect of all of a sudden you can be on the other side of the world and have this experience of stepping into my life and my journey and my story. And there's this Snapchat stories where you can flick through and sort of see that, but understanding the location, the movement, the understanding that whole overarching journey and story is where people are. So sort of coming back into the question, I'm trying to think of how
value shop.
Yeah. So there's the service, right? So to create a blog or a vlog takes hours and a lot of skill. And that's where I first came to the problem, because people wanted me to create them. So I could spend hours writing and editing. I could spend hours doing, editing video and finding the right clip. On Storyboard, it does it in seconds for you. We bring your frozen videos in, we place them in locations, we give them order, you can select the customized map, you can throw filters as they want, and in seconds, if not minutes, you can have a whole recap of your 2-month journey.
Yeah.
And that's massive time save, massive value add, and it eliminates only the few select people being able to create this content. And then the network effect is then they can share that to their friends, they can share that to the world, they can share that to, mum and dad back at home, and they can also use it themselves. It becomes a diary.
Cool. In terms of moving forward, we talk about this idea of co-action. So can we actually plan or aim to design a process where other people win as you win, as more so than other people losing?
Yep.
So how does that work for you?
Look, so definitely. So if we think of the big behemoths in the room, right? People don't want to start Storyboard because it means they can't use Instagram now and they can't use Facebook. It's opposite, right? We're as much utility for these large existing platforms as we are our own standalone platform.
Yep.
And the same is for websites. And businesses can use it to share their story. What is the story of this organic coffee that I'm drinking? Where does it come from?
Yep.
How does that business fit into the life? There's a lot of value which individuals and businesses can gather by people understanding their journey and story. And that is where Storyboard really doesn't take from anyone. It only empowers people to share more.
Yeah, cool. Fantastic. Your organisation sort of mindset, are you still moving from day to day, sort of very short-term focus on the way you gather and use resources, or have you got a bit more connected to sort of being able to lock yourself into a long-term focus?
So it's different areas of the business, right? This is probably where it interests me. Some are very, K and very long-term, and we know where we're going with this, and that's with their large corporate clients where we're signing contracts and got great revenue coming in where they're using on this private side. But then on the end user side which is where my real big passion is.
More are.
Where more are, because each day people may want a different feature, and how do we understand the set features that the masses in the world want, and those sort of things, and we have to be flexible. So it's not so much daily, but it is short term. We can say, okay, the end users want to be able to do this, bang, and we allocate those resources and push them out. But then on the large scale things, it's more very linear, where we know the progression.
Yeah, cool. And when you think about those end users, are they a particular subset of the social media sort of world, or is it more of a generalist, anyone's fair game?
So, look, and once again, there's two sides to that. We as a company are trying to get broader as well as niche at the same time. We need to take over small groups of segments, because when we've got that strong user segment, be it travellers, be it university students, be it exchange students, we can own that group, and then virally it grows from there. At the same time, we don't want to become a platform which is only travel based.
Yep.
And if you look at the progress of Instagram, at one stage it was all food photos, and it slowly developed. So right now it's all half naked photos, really. And that's sort of where it comes. It's, and what we're trying to do is keep that broad spectrum. So we're trying to really, niche in on those young travelers, because they're sharing amazing content, and people have content to share when they travel. They feel it. People will often say, I don't have much of a story to tell. And we ask them to take 10 photos in a day, and we map it out, and they're like, oh, I actually did do some cool stuff today. And my mum does care about that.
Yeah.
Or my best friend does care about that. And then the other side, we're trying to push up, just get everyone to understand and know what Storyboard's doing, because when I signed up for Instagram, I signed up, stopped using it, came back a couple months later, stopped using it again. It's that sort of rinse and repeat cycle.
Cool. And the last question, which I always place the most weight on in terms of the students being able to come up with something cool for you, Emergy, this ability to use someone else's activities and energy to your advantage, even though you can't own it or control it.
Yeah, so that's an interesting one. So there's so many events out there, right? And there's so many people's travel experiences, past and present. And every day in this world, with the billions of people we have, amazing feats are done, amazing experiences are had. And we want to encourage people to share those experiences. And what we're really looking is how to create that spark where people think, I've had this amazing experience, day, adventure, I want to share it to Storyboard.
Do you create themes that people's stories can come into?
Look, so we're building that out right now. So right now, obviously you can hashtag and have interest, but we're building a functionality where we're going to self-categorize stories into set, locations, interests, and things like that. So it can go into that sort of set group.
Because the sporting calendar is an interesting one, isn't it? Right?
Definitely.
Because many organisations are spending billions of dollars to promote their World Cup of this and their Olympics of that and their Formula One of this. So they're already creating the energy that's out there for you to tap into. Right? People are already being attracted to those things like honey nests.
Yep.
So this is a great way to actually bring back and see those stories that other sporting people like.
And the behind the scenes, and what those stars do.
Yep.
And so how do we tap into everyone's experiences and get them thinking it should be on Storyboard?
Yeah.
That's the big sort of Emergy that we're trying to tap into and create that spark of Instagram. If you take a beautiful photo, your first thought is for the gram or for Instagram. Stupid stuff, it's always someone's doing some shit, I'm going to snap it. Well, how do we create that thing to make Storyboard for all these amazing sports events, all these amazing personal events, and it just comes out there.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, but I'm looking forward to seeing what the students can come up with. I think they're going to be excited to work on it, which is always good to have something that's real, living, and looking forward to seeing the problem you share with the students.
I'll put it out there too. So when you sign up, because the students playing with it, they're probably going to want to test it. When you sign up, there's a promo code.
Yep.
And in all capitals, SBVIP, all capitals, will unlock a lot of features that not the end users have. Fantastic. So they can test things out, and we're going to use them as marketing tools to bring people in as well.
Wonderful. Let's get it started.
Let's do it.
Good stuff.